Okay, so two trades were taken this week. One was a swing trade on this US30, and another was a little scalp slash day trade on Nasdaq. I think it was Nasdaq. So if you would notice from my previous video, I did make mention of this US30 trade. I did make mention of the US30 trade. At that time, I was still in the trade and I was looking to scale in. I did end up scaling in, managed to double my profits. I was happy with the profits at that time, and actually ended up closing my original trade plus the trade that I scaled in on, and I'm currently out of the trade. So with that being said, it was a pretty simple, entry type break and retest situation. So with regards to this little red box over here, or this little red zone over here, we can see we had a resistance over here. Price broke above it, pushed higher. Price then came down to retest it. Price was unable to hold the, remember it was resistance, became support. Price was unable to hold the support, and then price continued to break and just flat dumped to the downside, right? Eventually we came up again to retest the zone quite a couple of times. Hence, this was a very key daily resistance zone, purely because of the fact that we managed to just completely break through it as support, then came up. Once again, price came up to try and retest it and potentially break through it, but was unable to. The zone held quite a couple of times. So, as I said, it was a key and very important, daily resistance zone, right? So you can see price retested this resistance zone quite a few times. Then price did manage eventually with this daily bullish candle over here. Price did end up actually breaking above it, not just with a wick like this candle over here. You can see price tried to break above it but couldn't, and we just got a wick. But in this case, with this bullish candle, daily bullish candle over here, price did actually break above it. So this wasn't super convincing for me, although I did end up taking it as a break above the resistance zone. So with that being said, this zone then becomes once again our daily support zone. So what did price do after this? After it broke above our key daily resistance zone, we got the retest over here with the following daily candle, which was bearish. We can see price attempted to push into it and tried to actually break through it once again, essentially creating a fake out, but that didn't happen. You can see the way this bearish candle closed. So we got the break, we then got the retest, and then we got a nice very good bullish engulfing daily candle to the upside. You can just see the body of this candle and the momentum of it. So that it was at this point when I got the daily bullish engulfing candle to the upside. The reaction candle was when my bullish bias was actually confirmed, right? So as I said at the beginning of the video, it was simple break retest. The break with this bullish candle, the retest with the following daily candle, and then the bullish engulfing candle to the upside, which I like to call my reaction candle. And then basically price just continued pushing, then eventually hitting my TP. So this is actually one of my best trades of the year, especially because of the fact that I managed to scale in. And the reason why I scaled in is because going onto the 4 hour, we had a 4 hour resistance zone up here. You can see it acted as support quite a couple of times. Price broke through it. We eventually got the retest. Price now the zone now becomes our resistance, right? So with that being said, since I identified my resistance zone there, I just waited once again for a break above and a retest, and then I was in again on my when it came to scaling in. So you can see we had the resistance zone up here. We managed to break above it with this bullish candle over there. I'm not sure if you guys can see it, but this bullish candle right here, we were able to break the 4 hour resistance zone, got the retest, and actually this time I didn't actually even wait for the reaction candle. As soon as this As soon as this retest candle, bearish candle, or 4 hour bearish candle over here closed, as you can see on the entry of the next candle, I immediately took my entry, simply because of the fact that I knew since Nasdaq and US30, not US30, Nasdaq and the S&P already took out the all-time highs. I knew that it was time, that it was bound, that US30 would want to do the same. And at that point, I was already in good profit on my initial trade. So with that being said, I just took the entry, scaled in, and it worked out in my favor. The original trade was like a 1:2.45, and the second entry was like a 1:3 risk to reward. So this was honestly one of my best trades of the year, and super clean price action allowed me to actually to enter the trade, exit the trade, and just overall close with very very good profits, resulting in, like I said, one of my best trades of the year so far. And let me reiterate this: this was simple basic entry types: break, retest, reaction candle. That's all it took, and it worked out great. So sometimes you have to just make use of keeping things as simple as possible, especially when it comes to this trading. Especially when it comes to what I realized when especially with regards to swing trades, the higher time frames are more clean than, for example, the 15-minute and the 30-minute, for example, or the 5-minute. So with that being said, as clean as it is, as the higher time frames are, I just keep things as simple as possible, and that's something I want to try to continuously do, especially this is now with regards to specifically swing trading, because I feel like the simpler you keep things, the more efficient your entries would be, as well as your exits or your TPs and stop losses in this case. So yeah, simple break retest on this US30 trade. Was able to scale in, good trade overall, good profits were made, and I am currently out of the trade, so I might look for re-entries. Once again, I'm not sure, but I'll keep you guys updated with that one. So with regards to the second trade that I took for the week, I only took two. It was obviously this US30 trade, and then I took another trade. It was on Nasdaq. It was on Nasdaq, and this was more of a a day trade slash scalp, if you want to put it like that. And I took this trade. When did I take this trade? I took this trade on Wednesday, the 2nd of July. So this yet again, this was like, for me personally, it was simple confluences that I used. It was simple entries that I used, and all that stuff. So let me just get into it. So like I said, I took this trade on Wednesday, the 2nd of July. First thing I looked at, and by the way, this was the day before NFP. NFP was obviously Thursday this week, because Friday was a bank holiday. So NFP was moved to Thursday. Normally I don't like trading the day before NFP, but I did see the setup, and simply because it was the day before NFP, I went in with super low risk, because sometimes, and a lot of the times, markets, especially indices, doesn't move very much. They are usually choppy the days before, and even the hours before NFP and other events like CPI, for example. With that being said, first thing I looked at, and first thing I noticed when I got on the charts on Wednesday before New York session opened, was that I identified this. Let me just move this up here. I identified this this 1 hour support zone over here, as highlighted by this green box. So I identified, first of all, this 1 hour support zone. You can see price stepped into it, You can see price tapped into it, pushed higher, price tapped into it once again, we had a leg up, and then price pushed back into it to retest it, right? So normally what I like to look at, as New York session is opening, or just before New York session open, I like to identify normally my, London session highs, Asian session highs, London session lows, Asian session lows. I like to identify that and see, depending obviously whether my bias is bullish, bearish for the day. I just want to see what liquidity got swept, what session highs got swept, what session lows got swept, right? In this case, just go ahead and mark out the session opens here. Over here, over there we have Asian session open, then we have London session open, and then New York session open. So coming in after I identify this 1 hour support zone, like I said, I like to look for the session highs, lows, see what liquidity got swept. And I went to go look at, here we have Asian session open, and then going over to London session, I noticed that the market overall at that time was, let me just show you, market at that time was, very bearish on, the 1 hour time frame, right? So even though I was bearish overall, I saw that London session hasn't swept out, Asian session high yet, right? So let me just note, this was Asian session high up here. You can see we could have swept it out with this candle on the London session open candle, but price didn't. So with that being said, since I saw that Asian sessions high didn't get taken out yet, and since prices was dumping like this, I knew that we would have some sort of liquidity sweep down here, then push up, and I could target, Asian sessions high and London session high, if that makes sense, right? So since price was already down here, and since price already once again tapped into this support zone, I then was looking for some sort of liquidity that price could potentially, sweep out before pushing up, and then I could target, like I said, this Asian session high up here and this London session high up here. So what I identified down here, when price came down to tap into this 1 hour support zone, I saw and noticed when this 2 o'clock candle closed. Now this isn't something I normally look at, but as a trader you need to be able to adapt and see certain things. So when this 2 o'clock candle closed, and the way it closed, I noticed we did have a liquidity sweep down here. And what I noticed is the liquidity that got swept was Tuesday's, which was the 1st of July. It was Tuesday's daily low that got swept by this candle. So I was like, okay, since and this actually confirmed my bullish bias for the day, right? Even though on this time frame on the 1 hour clearly showing bearish price action, since we tapped into this 1 hour support zone, the way that this 1 hour candle closed as well told me that it's not likely that price is gonna want to break below the zone and continue pushing lower. And since we took out Tuesday's low, since we swept out Tuesday's low, that confirmed my bullish bias. So I was like, okay, since I'm now getting the bullish bias, I then went on, and since I got the confirmation of the tap into the 1 hour support zone and the sweep of Tuesday's low, I was then simply just looking for a break of structure to the upside, and I identified this high up here. You can see over there, this 15-minute high up here. I was looking at, I could have looked at this 15-minute high up here as well, but I chose rather to look at this 15-minute high up here for my 15-minute break of structure. So I did look at I did mark out this 15-minute high up here with this black little line up here. Let me just go in there ahead and remove this. Yeah, so I marked it out with this black line up here. Then eventually this 15-minute candle over here did break this 15-minute high up here. So I was like, okay, we did now get the 15-minute break of structure to the upside. And what, like I said also, and I'm going to reiterate this, what I always say, This is a valid break of structure purely because of the fact that, as I mentioned earlier, we did get a 1 hour liquidity sweep before getting this 15-minute break of structure to the upside. We did sweep, let me reiterate this, we did sweep the liquidity before getting this break of structure. And then we did get the break of structure now, which validates the 15-minute break of structure to the upside. If we didn't sweep out any liquidity prior to this, this would not be a valid 15-minute break of structure to the upside. But getting back to my confluences, after price broke this high, this 15-minute high, after price broke the 15-minute break of structure, I then identified a 1 minute. I'm not sure if I'll be able to even here it is. I'm not sure if I'll even be able to find it now. Okay, there it is. After we got the 15-minute break of structure to the upside, I then marked out this 15-minute fair value gap, this 1 minute rather fair value gap over here. You can see we had this big this big 1 minute fair value gap over there. I marked it out over there. Price tapped into it over here, got the reaction candle over there, and right after that we got the reaction candle. I entered. Price wanted to obviously come down and fill it some more, but then price pushed in my direction, hit my full TP. So simple, once again, just like the US30 trade. Simple entries, simple executions. I was in and out of this trade, not even in I think it was under an hour and a half, under an hour, something like that. But yeah, 2 W's for the week. US30 trade, I'm out. Swing trade, Nasdaq trade as well. That was a scalp / day trade. Got out of that as well on Tuesday. We'll see what this week brings. This coming week, I'm not sure. I think we have CPI this week, so not sure what this week will bring. But 2 W's for this week, and I think I had 2 W's last week as well. So those were the only 2 trades I took for this week.